Well, good evening, our beloveds. We must say that our another is sometimes a wee bit high maintenance. She did not like the earlier channeled message because we referenced something that she said is not to be referenced, so we must now come up with part 2, plan B, whatever you want to call it, to make it resonate without bringing in other people. So here is where we are today. We wish to talk about or start a series called Pause and Rest. Pause is to teach you to allow a gap or a space between your reaction or reactivity to anything and taking action. Pause is designed to allow you to reflect on why you feel the way that you do, to look at it from many different perspectives and angles, and to come to what we would call the grown-up or rational realization of how you should respond when you have a sufficient pause to allow you to step back. No immediacy, if that makes sense. And then rest is designed to make you all slow down in your activities. You all are so busy doing still, being human doings, especially now that school is starting up again, that in some places the summer is winding down, and others that the winter is taking a bit of a hiatus. It's not so much that it is over, but that the pendulum is beginning to swing or shift in a different direction. And as this new energy comes in, the Aquarian energy, which is about passion and compassion and love and reflection and all those emotions and energies that are ultimately designed to bring in the divine feminine, but it is also designed to break open the divine masculine. The divine masculine has been hogtied for way too many centuries, reflecting poorly on the initial intention of what masculinity would and should look like. But instead, you have managed to take something really miraculous and have managed to turn it into something which is tormentative and destructive. Look at the weapons that you have created from that masculine perspective. Look at the prisons that you have created instead of indoctrinating your young people to be more loving and recognizing where the cycle of abuse begins. It just is so unbelievable in some ways how you have managed to destroy something so beautiful because some of you must be in control. And that is where it gets you. But we do not intend to talk about that because our another has asked us to broach it from a different perspective. When you love someone properly, and they love you back properly, it is such a different vibration than what most and many of you have ever experienced. You have lived in such an energetic imprint of lack, and many of you are now beginning to understand why and how and what you can do about it. But this is a time of renewal and regeneration. And we wish to call upon those of you who wish to heal, So for those of you who have been abusive or have been called abusive by those who are in the know, recognize that if you set the intention, we, the collective energies, can help you. We can help to guide you to the proper practitioner. We can help to guide you through the appropriate processes. We can help to bring in the right individuals into your lives to help you to just connect the dots, but it must be initiated by you. The laws of the universe requires that you invite us in. We are not permitted to meddle in your affairs unless you ask us to. And it is not just a one-time thing. It requires a daily surrender until you have created enough patterns and habits that will carry you forward much easier. But the first part is quite challenging and difficult, if we're honest, because you are so used to controlling and manipulating people around you through your actions, through your words, through your taunts, through your threats, through litigation. It doesn't even matter. You use a power source to take over somebody else's free will because you simply don't trust that the universe will take care of you, because you were not taught that in young years. There are the occasional individuals who were imprinted with that particular methodology, but for most of you, it is programmed behavior from somewhere, no matter how small. Could have been a single trigger or trauma to a lifetime of trauma, but something harmed you, and you are now acting out of your trauma wound. Now, we would love to share with you how that works. When you have two people come together with the perfect recipe, ingredients for volatility, it erupts. And when you have the wrong players come together, it plays out very differently. So the individuals who come together make a difference, because when you have two people who are together and it is very volatile and they go their separate ways, it doesn't mean that each of them will be in another volatile relationship. The chances are much higher because you are still attracted to the same type of individual depending upon which side of the equation you are on. But there are so many different factors that come into play. But we want to teach you all what it feels like to feel safe within your own body. Because when you feel safe, you will no longer feel the need to control those things around you. Look at our another. Her health issues would cause most people to be very, very concerned. And we tell her, yes, go check it out. But there's nothing terribly wrong with her. It's just a shift and a change. And the eye doctor validated that. As frightened as she was as a whole, she now knows it's not as bad as she had envisioned. And the other stuff, it's just run-of-the-mill, getting older, diet, sleep, stress, and ascension symptomology. Now, our another works really hard at relaxing her body, letting go of stress and anger and unhealthy emotions. She has worked incredibly hard to get herself as synchronized as she is within her own cellular structure. She is working really hard to be kind and generous where it's warranted. She is being challenged to stand up for herself when others take advantage of her, and to find a bigger stick of sorts to teach that individual to not harm her anymore. And then she walks away, but she is no longer curling up into a ball, allowing somebody to hit her, because she no longer believes that she deserves to be treated this way. That's huge growth for her. And now we will help her to understand how managing her energy within her own energy body is as important as the people in her life, as the food that she ingests, as the entertainment that she allows into her experience, and as important as the environment, as a nature within which she has cocooned herself. We are now working with her on moving her energy again and tuning into what her energy looks like, as she is no longer working with her energy worker. And so she needs to now step up and cleanse her own auric field, because it matters. When you don't brush your teeth for a month or two, as a whole in this societal state, you can pretty much expect that you will get a cavity or two. If you don't shower for a month or two, you're gonna stink to high heaven. So what do you think your energy, your energetic imprint looks like when you don't cleanse it regularly, when you don't tend to it regularly? If you don't eat for 3 days and don't consume liquids for 3 days, your body's not doing very well. And we are beginning to teach our another how her energetic imprint matters as much as all these others. And she will now need to take on this responsibility for herself, because this is where she finds herself. And she also wants to teach others how to do this, because she's got 4 years of training. She really likes to do this work. It's actually less draining than channeling, because she doesn't actually have to allow us to go through her body. And she can teach others the ability to read their own energetic imprint and to move it, shift it, clean it, inspire it, whatever it is. And this is the next journey that we are going to take her on, because believe it or not, when you're working with people who have emotional issues, trauma, whatever you want to call it, a lot of this trauma will be lodged within the energetic imprint of that individual. And she has seen it. And she knows what it looks like, and she can also understand that she can help to move it. But at the end of the day, if the individual themselves does not take on this responsibility, then she can only do a little bit, but nothing beyond that. So again, going back to the analogy of brushing your teeth or showering, this is something that needs to be done with some regularity in order to be in top fit shape. Similar to exercise or maintaining your car. If you don't get an oil change, if you don't put petrol or gasoline or whatever you want to call it into the tank, if you don't inflate your tires, there are just certain things that are required in order to have a vehicle that moves you from point A to point B. And if you don't maintain it, it runs out sooner than designed for, if that makes sense. And while many of you have managed to make it to the point where you're at today, just think about what it would look like or feel like if you actually got regular oil changes, inflated your tires, maybe washed your vehicle with the hose, vacuum the inside, got some of the crumbs out of the car. Doesn't really matter. Clean the windshield. You understand the analogy that we're trying to make here. You would feel better. You would have less joint pain, less muscle pain, more mobility within your body. Your skin would feel differently. It would clear up. Your hair would be more... It would be healthier. It would be much healthier. You would sleep better. Your gum health would be improved. Your excretory system would be not as marginal as it is. You would, as a whole, require less medication. You would feel younger. You would feel happier. There's just all those things. If you remember how you felt 20, 30, 40 years ago, you would be able to create greater health, greater enjoyment in your life, greater productivity, believe it or not, and greater appreciation for where you're at. But these are skills that are taught, or honestly remembered, because you do know them at your cellular level. You just haven't been taught them yet in this lifetime for the most of you. And it requires insight into what the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s look like. And once you know how to read and do math, then you guys can do it on your own and can play with it. And let us tell you, this is such a fun field to play in when you close your eyes and set intentions and ask queries of the universe. And we out here in the universe are so excited to bring some of you into our world instead of you bringing us into your world, if that makes sense. We sit beside you every day while you eat your bologna sandwich or have your Starbucks cup of coffee. But we would love to invite you to play with us out there in the cosmos, because the only limitation is your imagination and your curiosity. So today we invite you all in to begin the process of journeying inward. And for those of you who have been unkind to others and struggle with even acknowledging what it is that you have done, let alone believing that there is a solution for you, we simply invite you in and ask you to ask us to help to guide the way. We can help once you ask us to assist, and not until. So we do love you little two-legged critters with so much affection you cannot even imagine. But you also do create some laughter up here at some of the things that you do, some of the things that you think up, But I guess where humanity has no limitation, then there are no limitations in the crazy things that you can come up with when you are in a state of sheer boredom and just want another endorphin or cortisol high. So we can offer you a wholly different way of connecting to highs that actually matter. And those are energetic highs, instead of creating a fight or flight state of endorphin high, if that makes sense. So we invite you all in, and may those who are called show up on the doorstep. And so it is. Namaste.